All right, I think we're live. Oh no. See, I have this awkward setup today. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I have a bit of an awkward setup because all right, I think we're live. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I had a stand. I was actually using a mic stand, a boom mic stand for my camera. And you know, those stands, if people are moving them without loosening them up, they tend to not hold anymore. So that's what was happening. And I opened it up and cleaned it all up. And a lot of the time that helps. It's just the dust gets in there in between the sort of cogs. And I did that, but instead of fixing it, I actually broke it. So anyways, I was able to fix something a little bit, and then it really didn't work. I gave it to my dad to see if he could fix it, and he apparently has fixed it, but I haven't gotten it back yet. So I'm using this setup. So I'm sort of stuck between the microphone and the camera tripod, and the Ableton Move is here. So I'll have to reach around and stuff for a little bit. But anyways, we'll have a normal looking. I actually was speaking to another YouTuber called, what was his? I want to give him proper credit because he was awesome. So, man, I thought I had it. Here, but anyways, lifted noise. That's what it was. And he gave me a great idea for a better setup. So I'll be doing that very soon. And if you're watching, I really appreciate what you sent my way. So I'm just going to move this here, and yeah, we can get started. So I've had this Ableton Move for a little over 2 weeks, and I've had a chance to play around with it a whole lot. This thing is fun. Yeah, really, we're going to have some fun with this thing. I'm going to look through some of the things that I noticed in the last few weeks. Some stuff maybe that I'd like to see with it. If you have anything you want to chat about on this, and things you noticed or things you'd like to see, or little tricks to get stuff done, let me know. And yeah, hopefully we can have a good little conversation about this Ableton Move. So yeah, so let's just see here what I had. So I don't know if you saw my live stream when I first got it. I did an unboxing stream, and it really, I didn't know what I was doing. And it's weird because some of the stuff, even somebody in the comments mentioned that he had read the manual, and he was like, this is how you stop it. Because I hit play, I hit something at one point and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't figure out, how to do something as simple as just stopping. It just kept going. And I'm sure I pressed this button here, and it wasn't doing anything. But anyways, now, yeah, I know how to stop. Yeah, I know how to stop a set from playing. So, yeah, so these four here, these are all the sets that I have on here. So as you see, I've been pretty busy. I don't remember if I deleted some earlier, but these are going to be the demo sets, and they don't do it justice, but went through a few of these last time, but they're super distorted. And, but I'm going to go through a couple of, okay, so these tracks, I'm going to go through, I'm not even sure what most of these are. So some of them are probably not sounding that great, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what I was able to do with this. This is probably the first track I ever did. And honestly, I listened to it earlier and it's not that bad. So we've got just the drum pattern here. This, I'm assuming, is the bass. Is there bass in here? No, I don't think. I think I never got to the bass. This will probably be that those notes that go up to down over here. Yeah. here, which is just this, I like that sound. What is that? Utah lead. I'm gonna remember that one. And, but the interesting thing I noticed by using this thing is that it's easy to get stuff done in a bunch of different styles. Like every time you start a new set, it launches 4 new sounds at random. So it'll have the, usually it'll be the percussion here, the drum, like a drum kit here, the bass here, and then these other 2 for more melodies and stuff. So, but since it's random, like I do mostly house music, and once in a while the sounds just don't fit into house music. And I have a couple on here that within minutes I was able to do something completely different. Okay, this one's, yeah, see this? It's nothing like this one, but it was done a few minutes later, and it's just, you just create a new set, and whichever sounds come up, it just, I don't know, it's really inspiring. I don't know why. There's something about it. I think it's the fact that it gives you completely different sounds that are, I don't want to say they're matched, but the concept is matched because you've got, you know, your drums. And so you always know exactly where to start, but in whatever style inspires you. This one actually is one that I did. I was trying to record my voice. Let's see. I don't know which one is. Hello. So this was one that I did just by using a little microphone. So it was sort of fun to play around with. And that's the one thing I haven't done as much as I'd like to is work with the recording in here. First of all, to record my voice or sounds around the house or whatever. Second of all, to record like an incoming signal. Like I could play something from a synth or a keyboard and record it in. And the third thing is the resampling, to be able to work with more than 4 of these tracks, because you can take this track here, resample it onto one of these drum pads. And then if you guys don't know about this, when you go to this here, it gives you these pads at the right, on the right. And what they are is this, actually, that's a good example there. If we do this, so it actually gives you the pitch, like 16 different pitches for your sound, and it's actually like 16 at a time, but you can go up and down for different octaves. So you can get a whole bunch of notes out of it, and you can do that with, like, it would be really nice with a chord. Hey, Skylar G, nice to see you. It would be nice with a chord, because if you sample a chord and you pitch it up and down, there's something about it that, I don't know, it sounds better than just playing the chord higher and lower. There's something, especially I do a lot of deep house, and for like, you get a nice organ chord up and down, like pitched up and down, just sounds really good. So, yeah. So anyway, okay, let's go back to some of these. Yeah, ignore that one. It's not. See, even this is a completely different style than what I'm usually working. I mean, I do work on this type of stuff for sync licensing and stuff, but it's not my usual style. This one here, I think, is my favorite so far, because I think I can take this into Ableton and turn it into something nice. So. And then here, these are all the same color. What I was trying to do here was, I had this one beat, and then I just copied it so I could do different variations of the same one, and then I sort of gave up and started working on other ones. So I think these are all the same. See, this is complete. Okay, obviously I'll throw some reverb on that, that sample, but even this, like, I'm actually impressed with just the 4 tracks, how much we're able to get variety. And that's what I was worried about, that everything in here would sound the same. And actually, I find that I'm getting more variety by starting stuff in here than I am in Ableton Live. Because in Ableton Live, you tend to go to the same things over and over. So if I want to do, if I want to get a chord, I'll be using the same synth, the same types of patches that I'm used to or whatever. So it's sort of nice to get something completely different. And this way you're getting completely different sounds that you probably wouldn't have gone to. I do have to play around a little bit more in Ableton Live with, let's see here. With this here, like where you can choose a, I won't work with this, but let's just do from the sound library just as an example. Oh, that's just going to be a demo. Okay, I need to, hold on. There we go. No. Yeah, so if we go to this wave file here, if you use this, it'll give you a whole bunch of different different related sounds. So I do have to play around a little bit more with that, but that's what I sort of like with this, is it gives you sounds that you've never used before. Do the colors on the pad mean anything? Not really, but I did notice like these here, when you copy and paste, like if I do this one, and so if I copy this one here, when I paste it, it'll be the same color. So it does help on that side, but I'm pretty sure they're random. Yeah, let's just delete this one. And so I don't know what these are. Yeah, these are just little bits and pieces from last night, but yeah, ignore those. So yeah, it has been really interesting to play around with this thing. At first I was thinking that 4-track thing wasn't a limitation. Then it turned out that I felt it was, and now I'm getting to the point where I think I'm seeing that I'm able to do stuff with it, like a little bit more stuff with it where it's less of a limitation. And that's going to happen mostly when we use this, because like these 16 samples each have 16 pitches. So they, in theory, could have 16 different instruments here, and you could repeat them on all of these. So you could technically have like 64 different ones, but then you'd have nothing where you're just playing the instruments. But so there are ways to work with it. I think the way to work with it as well is going to be to work in Ableton Live, organize your samples, and then upload them onto this machine, which works actually pretty well. I don't know if I can find. I ended up finding, somebody put a 303 loop. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I'm not even going to bother, but I was able to take a preset that somebody posted on Reddit, bring it onto the machine, and run it like a 303. Actually, one of these. Oh no, that's not what I want. I feel like I've used it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's using it here. So okay, this is going to be. So this is going to be the 303 type. And this is a preset that was uploaded to the machine through move.local, which is where you go to upload stuff. So I can see myself creating some interesting sounds and bringing them in. It's sort of nice to doing it. The Skylar G asks, are you finding the user experience a bit easier since the stream? Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, I was a little bit confused. I was actually mentioning that earlier. Right? I had trouble just hitting the stop button the first time. No, it actually, it comes really quickly. The only thing I'm finding is that I'm doing the same things over and over. So I have to like try different stuff more often. Like I have to take some of these tracks that are not very not very like they're nothing, and then just try anything. So I'm not worried about ruining something that that is working. But yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot. Actually, I'd say within even an hour, like as soon as I finished that stream the first time, I sat on the couch with this thing, and like not even an hour, I think I was, it's like, it just, sorry about that. It just clicked. And yeah, it happened really quickly. Like, you do pick it up really quickly. And the thing is as you learn to do stuff, you're learning other things based on what you're doing. Like if you're programming, just like if you're programming this loop, and let's just throw it on a whole bunch of stuff. Just mute all the other ones just to see. So if you're sitting there and doing all this, well, what you learn after is if you press one of these, you've got the note length. So you can actually, if you want to make it longer, you'll have to remove the one afterwards. But so you can make this one a little bit longer. So you can tell that third note is a little bit longer. And then you realize that you can nudge them, you can do other stuff. So it's a type of thing where you're just doing your very basic beats. I just want to undo a bunch of times because I sort of like that beat the way it was. Yeah, you pick it up really quickly. One thing I did notice though, when I first started out, hey, the Legacy, or the 7 Legacy, I'm assuming that's pronounced Legacy. Nice to see you. Thanks for watching. And yeah, the speakers was my first, I hate to say it, but it was my first disappointment with this. And I actually thought that this unit was not working. Like I loaded it up, and yeah, they didn't sound good. And the thing is, the way they are, I don't know if you can see, but they're actually relatively big speakers. But if you have it on you, like I tend to sit there on the couch and have it right on me, it basically cuts all of the sound that's coming out of those speakers. If you have it on a table, I think there's those speakers, but there's also, oh, I'm hitting the buttons here, but there's also this here. I don't know if you can see these little slots here. I think those are basically slots for the speakers as well. And you'll notice that if you put it on a table, it sounds so much nicer than it does if you just have it, if you're just holding it up in the air, basically. So it does make a difference, but yeah, it was a little disappointing. I remember that first night I was like, there's got to be something wrong with this machine. And I was searching everywhere to see if anybody was talking about it. And then over the next few days, I noticed people mentioning that, like somebody said, the speakers feel like a little bit of an emergent, like they're there for an emergency. And I sort of agree. I'm actually noticing I'm using them more and more. For kick drums, I find it doesn't, you don't really hear it that much. Depending on what it is, you can hear it. You sort of get used to that type of sound. There's also something that I've done, which is on the main effects. Yeah, here. If we go to the main effects here, if you, like, this is dynamics and saturator, but if you can abandon one of these, like let's say you don't need the compressor as much. Well, actually, no, this is one that you can use. The punch glue, I don't know if you can tell. Can you tell? Yeah, you can't tell that much, but honestly, on the speakers, you notice a little bit more. But anyways, if you change one of these, the dynamics isn't too bad. But if, let's say we get rid of the saturator, what you can do is go to the channel EQ and saturator, go EQ. There we go. And then if we go to just the default EQ, see the low gain. So if you bring up the low gain, you bring up the mid gain, and you bring up the high gain a little bit, you notice it's already louder. So you have to do them sort of evenly. So you're not getting a wonky signal, but it does help if you're using the speakers. Bring those 3 up and you'll notice a big difference. The only thing is, like, I don't know how much you can bring them up without risking busting these speakers, right? But that beat is fun. Thanks. It is fun. That 303, and actually, I should put it in the description afterwards, because that 303 preset sounds really good, but I noticed that there's some little descriptions on how to use it, and if you load up a 303 machine, usually or a plugin, it'll have the patterns in it already, so it'll do some stuff that you don't notice. But he was explaining how to use it, and I learned so much. Like, within half an hour, I learned more about the 303 than I did in years. And on making, you've got the shorter notes, and some of the notes you make a little bit longer, and it does make for there's that weird point where, there we go. It's a weird point where it sounds like a 303, it sounds like and then there's something that we do sometimes where it just removes it. It doesn't sound like it at all. But anyways, yeah, it's that works out well. And like I said, if you put an EQ and you boost that, you can get a little bit more sound out of those speakers. But I made a mistake on the last video I did was 7 things I'd love to see in the Ableton Move. And I went through 7 things, and I actually stand by those, and I actually found some more ideas. But I added a little bonus thing that I thought was a good idea. I still think it's a good idea, but we might have to do a variation of it. What I decided to, I was hoping this had Bluetooth built in, and it doesn't. And I was thinking you could use one of those Bluetooth transmitters, and then you can plug it into whatever speaker you want. So you can get, you can choose the quality of audio you want instead of the internal speakers without having a cable going, from there to whatever. But somebody actually, if we go to the comments here, this here, somebody, one of them was, where was it? There we go. This one here. Bluetooth speakers, a stupid idea. The latency will kill the interaction. And I actually hadn't thought of the latency. And it's true. Working with just normal Bluetooth latency is you'll have a tough time making beats, but listening to it will be fine because it doesn't matter if you've got latency once you hit play, right? But there are ways to shorten that latency. So that's one way. Is I even found these headphones here from, how do we pronounce this? Is it I? It's funny because in French, I is like, it's an expression for like, oh dear, or oh no. But yeah, so these here, they say that there's a 16 millisecond latency, which honestly, you could work with 16 millisecond latency. So these would work as an option. But, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the screen. There we go. Yeah, so pretend you could see that all over the last couple of minutes. But yeah, 16 millisecond latency. These headphones may work. But something else that somebody said here, which I like the idea of this. They said a guitar wireless transmitter and receiver, and there's 2.4 gigahertz or 5.8. They can do wireless audio without the Bluetooth delay. They say another pair of batteries to keep charged, but I actually did find some that are rechargeable themselves and whatever. But that's true because you'll have that for a guitar where you can plug in your the transmitter and plug in the other end to the amp. So you'd have your transmitter here, and your the other one goes into whatever Bluetooth speaker you're using, or an amp. You could use a guitar amp, I guess. And it's got to sound better than the speakers in here. And then you get rid of the latency. The only thing is, the only ones that I found that seem to work well are a couple $100. So there's a bit of a cost to it, but if you have that already, that would be something really nice to do. I'm not sure if you can get a stereo output with that, because one of the ones that I found actually did have that, what is it, TRRS, the ones that have like the two anyways, the stereo, it looks like stereo, but they don't mention anything about it being stereo. But still, like, the speakers in here aren't stereo. Most of the Bluetooth, like, you're not going to be using this for the great quality. It would just be nice to be able to choose your speaker. So that is an option there. I wanted to look at some of these comments as well, because there was some really good stuff in this video, or in the comments from this video. The most important is adding synchronized audio clips in the session mode. If you can put 4 minutes on a drum pad, you can put it in a clip. So I'm assuming they mean the warping, having the warping on the clips you record, which actually is genius. Like, that would be really, really useful. Oh, and I saw a question here. How modifiable are the synths on the Move? That's what Adam Shin is asking. Can you change everything about them in Ableton and load them onto the Move? Yes, you can. So you can, the ones on Move itself, I can just show you one of these. So you have the filter cut off, and then the resonance. It's nice with these. As soon as you touch them, you can see what they do, the wave position. So you can. So this would depend on the sound itself, how extensive the actual waveform is. But so this one here is the decay. I think I'm on repeat here because. Let's remove. Oh, no. Hold on. This one's a repeat. I'm actually going to leave this here's a full velocity, like basically an accent, which is easier to hear it. So if we deal with the decay, so you can change the sound quite a bit. The release is the same. Wobble is sort of nice. And that is a really nice sound. I'm going to undo with all these because I'm realizing that I'm working on that on that track. So you can do quite a bit with these, and then yeah. So that's for this synth. I think each one has like different. Yeah. See, this one here is using, which synth is this? This is using drift, and you can tell that these are different. Actually, these are the ones that were. I'm not sure if these were selected by the person who made this preset, but yeah, you can take your presets and drop them on there, which is really nice. This was as a AU bundle preset or something. So I haven't tried with actual presets from Ableton Live, like to do them in Ableton Live, but from what I understand, you can. And if you want to do that, this is where you'd go. You go to move.local, and then here you'll have a number that comes up here. So no one's breaking into your Move, I guess. And then here, delete or rename presets, import new ones. So this is where you would upload your presets. So and that's where this one showed up. And yeah, this is also where you can download your sets. So if you have some sets that you recorded, like I've got a bunch of these, I'm going to take them all down at one point. And so this one downloads the actual file that you can work on. It's basically an Ableton. I think it ends up being a .als file. Like, it's literally an Ableton file that you can work with normally. And then this one here lets you rename them. And then here you can export as audio, which is sort of nice too, because you can export your sets and have, especially if you made a loop that you're able to use in something else, you're able to export the audio and then drop it in as an audio clip instead of if you don't need to do too much of the adjustment still. So anyways, that's where we do this. So so yeah, and so there are a couple of things that I've been looking for. One of them is a travel case, and I don't know if you guys have Ableton Move. I don't know if anybody's making one yet, but if you have any suggestions, let me know. Because I'm noticing, like, to take it somewhere, it scares me a little bit because I don't want these knobs breaking off. And like, it's sort of, yeah, there's too much stuff sticking out of it that you can't really just throw it into a backpack. And I'm tempted to. I might be doing a demo of this at some point in the next few weeks, and I want to take. I'll have to take it with me, but I'm thinking of like taking the actual box from that it was shipped in, and I don't want to have to do that. It's got this weird thing where when you put this into the box, to get it back out, you have to sort of put it upside down. Like it's a little bit awkward anyway. So yeah, we need a good travel case for this, but I'm sure those will be coming out soon. And it would be really nice to have something like that. The other thing I need is a stand. And I think I found a couple of options. If you've got one of these, it would be nice, first of all, if you had it sort of on an angle. And I found somebody on Reddit again made this. And you can actually download, there's Bamboo Studio, which I don't know that much about 3D printing. Like, I understand the concept and I have for years, and I've been interested in it for years, but I've never actually gone to the point of taking a design and bringing it somewhere and getting it printed. So, but you can actually download the CAD files basically, and it's free. And this is basically how he set it up. And he was saying that there's actually, he created a 10-degree angle, 15-degree, 20, and 25. So you can print it whichever way you want it angled. The thing is, for me, is I'd want to have it behind something else. I want to have it behind my DJ controller. So I would have to get it up higher. So I actually talked to him, and he said he might be able to help me fix that up. But I found this one as well. And it's just like 15, 20 bucks. It's made for an iPad. And I searched for something that makes sense. Like, I spent a few hours looking for something. I like the idea of this one because it's a little bit wider than a lot of these. Like, I have one for my wife. We have one for her phone, but it's just like, if I were to put the Move on it, it would wobble. This one, like, you don't want to knock it anyways because it's right in the middle. I'm thinking of either getting two of these and having it at each end, and then that would be nice. You could just drop it. But having it just the one, like, it's about I think the width, 4.6 inches, they say the width. So, and the Move is about, like, it's about a foot wide, like, so it's got 12 inches. So it's basically, it might hold a third. I have a feeling that 4.6 it may be, I don't know if it's exaggerated or it's exact, but anyways, so I'm not sure how well it would hold with just the one, but anyways, that's what I'm thinking of getting. But I like the idea of these stands, especially if you're able to, like, it's a 3D design, so you can adjust it to whichever way you want. And he basically made it so you can like, it's got the like a groove here for your plugs and everything. Like, it's really made. And he mentions, I don't know if it says on here, snug but not overly tight, so it doesn't damage your device because it's too tight, but it's snug enough that it's not just wobbling everywhere. So anyways, this is a really interesting one. And it's a perfect case, 75% keyboard case. Okay, I'm actually gonna copy that. Thanks. So I'm assuming that's a I'm gonna check that out. Actually, why don't we check it out right now? The link won't work, but Kira 75%. Anyways, keyboard case, hard shell. I'm trying to find stuff so it won't find all these variations. Okay, is it this one? Oh. Yeah, this must be the one. And then you said the slim. So it'd be basically this one here. Have you tried that with the Ableton Move? Like, and the encoders don't stand out too much? It looks like you have some extra space at the top. Huh. That's okay. Thanks for mentioning that. I'm gonna look into this one here. Yeah, 13.3 inches. I think the Move is 12.3, 12.6, something like that. And then the height, what do they say the height is? 2 inches. Yeah, that would be perfect. So yeah, it's made for a mechanical keyboard. Yeah, which has the higher keys anyways. Interesting. Okay, thanks so much for mentioning that. I think this is going to go on my Christmas list because yeah, I think that could definitely work. And yeah, so that's basically, if I can get a stand and a case. The stand is more important than the case. I don't take it out to do stuff that much, but it would be nice to get one of these. I might try to do this, either put it on something or see if the design can be a little bit higher. Like, it only has to go above the, like a DJ controller, which is what, maybe 3 inches or something. So like, it'll be behind it. The thing I like about this one here is that it's completely adjustable. So you can actually bring it like further away from the wall. Like, I don't have a lot of space back there, so I'd have just enough space for this thing, and I think I'd be able to move it, so it would work. But okay, so it's deep enough that it doesn't hurt the knobs. And the thing I like too is this here, like the strap to hold it in. Make sure that when it moves around, those knobs aren't going to be hitting the other end. So how did you find something like this, or did you have the case before? Like, I never even would have thought of looking for a keyboard case. Like, I haven't. I'm trying to think of I looked more for the stand than the case, but I never would have looked for this. So, and it's got the pouch for cables. Yeah, I could see that right at the top here. So that'll be awesome. Yeah. So thanks to Tablet Ninja for that suggestion, because I'll be trying that for sure. And yeah, no, I'm loving this machine. Let me see here. I had a couple things that I was thinking. Oh, I think I went through most of these. Yeah, I've been enjoying this little machine. Like, it's really a little bit crooked here, but it can do more than I thought it could do. Yeah, I'm trying to find the best way to say it. Like, it is what I expected. Everything I was hoping it could do, it can do. And it can do a whole lot more, but I haven't tried the whole lot more. I'm noticing, and a lot of people were worried about this little tiny screen. I'm noticing that you can do so much based on whatever you're doing there. Like, the screen isn't the limitation that I thought it would be at all. It would, like, I find having to scroll around constantly and stuff, I find that a little bit longer, because you got to choose your sound, whatever it is. But I'm noticing that the screen doesn't matter, because you're not doing, like in Ableton Live, we're used to doing everything on the screen, obviously. But with this, like this encoder here, when you're dealing with this, you're dealing with this, and this is what, like, the focus is specifically on that. So it doesn't matter what else is around. It doesn't matter what these here are doing while you're working on this. So I don't know if that even makes sense, but basically, yeah, it's yeah, you just started digging. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna look for that case. And yeah, it's been fun. I've been able to do a little bit of the reason I got this actually wasn't for this. It wasn't for any of these tracks. It wasn't for any of this stuff. It was basically just this. Like, and I know I could have gotten it something different to use for that, but it was basically just this. And these at the bottom is, I want to have more interesting drum patterns. And I'm noticing that I'm always doing the same thing when I'm doing drums. And I thought that like sitting on the couch and playing around with stuff, you're able to try like, you know, a snare just nudged a little bit earlier, a little bit later, or just on a different beat where you wouldn't expect it. And it's been really nice for that. Let's just so if we have a, yeah, I don't, let's do we'll just switch the, I'm noticing there's a drum kit in here for the 909, and because of the music I do, it's I tend to use a lot of 909s, but it sounds so legit. Like, it's the same 909 kit that's been in Ableton all along. But when you're in Ableton, you tend to use like the plugins. I have a few different, I have a Drumazon and a few different things that can do it, and extra sample packs for the 909. But this is like basically OG 909 the sounds that I haven't used as much as I should, and it's making me rediscover some stuff that has been in Ableton Live all along. And this was there. Like, I think this is probably the first drum kit I used even in the light version. I was looking yesterday because I was talking to support about an issue I've been having with the push, but I noticed that I started with Ableton on Live Light 5, and I didn't know what I was doing at all. I actually have a video from a couple of years ago, I think, probably at this point, on how I really started with Ableton Live. And it was sort of, I tried for like a year to, you know, people say like they don't, it's confusing at the beginning, and then after a while you're like, no, it's easy, it's easy, whatever. But I was going through that, and that video was about the lessons I learned on how to get started with it when you're used to a different DAW. But the thing is, I remember having access to like a few drum kits, and that was almost it. Like, there really wasn't much at all. And I think that's probably the last time I used this pretty extensively. So it's a really nice sounding drum kit. I find like each of these sounds is perfect. Like that little perfect, 909 hi-hat, and you can do so much to the sounds. Like if you want to have this, you change the attack and make it a little softer. And I noticed if you press this, the shift, you get different options here. Like there's a length that you don't usually have. And I haven't really noticed how many of these are different. So the decay and length is different. This one's the same. Attack is the same. I'm not sure this one here. This one here. I'm not sure what. Oh, is that a start sample? No, this is a start. Oh, this might be just zoomed in. I think that's what it is. One thing I remember noticing that first night, I was panicking. I sat there. First of all, like I said earlier, like I thought there was something wrong with the speakers. And then I thought I was sitting there with these sounds, and I couldn't figure out the volume. Like none of these adjust the volume of it. You can adjust the length, whatever. And I was like, there's no way that you can't adjust the volume on a pad. And then I was like, oh, and then on a track, you can't really adjust the volume, because if you press the volume here, it does the volume for the whole track, right? And I was so confused, and I was just like, I was sad. I tried everything. I couldn't find any of the options. And then I realized that all you have to do is press on either the pad here, and while you hold it down, you can adjust. There we go, back to the track. But if you so you can adjust the, you can tell on the screen that you're adjusting it. And then yeah, the track is the same thing. If you hold the track down, this will be your track volume. So you're able to adjust everything. So that was really nice, because I was thinking, like, am I going to have to take all these sounds, throw them into Ableton Live and do all of the mixing there? Like, this lets you do a little bit of your mixing and dealing with levels. And especially if you're using it on a full track, if you're sitting there and if this hi-hat is like, it just sounds so off. Just changing the volume of like one sound can make a whole difference in your track. So yeah, so that was nice. That was a nice surprise that it had it in there, because yeah, it wasn't on any of these encoders. So I was so sad that I don't know. I think if that wasn't there, I think I might have returned. I don't know if I would, but yeah, no, it's been really worth it. And like I said, you can make so many different styles, and you can build up a track. You can build up a good part of a track. Like, I feel that by taking the time, I don't know if it's worth taking the time to build it in there instead of doing it in Ableton Live. Like, but if you really wanted to, like, to challenge yourself and create a whole track in here, you could create a whole track in here, especially with this here, where you can have a bunch of different clips. So you can have, the only thing it doesn't have is, like, in here, I'm not sure what, yeah, see it. So if you have, this is a full beat here. So you don't have like on push where, and in Ableton Live, where you can have a play for the whole scene. So basically with this, if you want to play all four of them, you don't have a button here at the end. You're basically, like, if we'll turn these off. Let's say we have just the beat. And then if we want to switch to these four, we don't have a button there, so you could just do these four quickly, and it does it. The only thing is, in this case, if I'm doing this, like we had, and I want to have these three with that, well, in this case, I can do this. But if you want to have something a little bit more advanced, you'd basically have to copy these patterns to like, you can just go to the right here. Like, you can just copy and paste with each of these pads and set it up the way you want. So it would take a little bit more preparation to create a whole track in here, but you could. The one thing that would be nice is this here, where it's all of your different sets. Like, if you do like what we were just listening to here, just go back here. You'll notice, like, if I remove these, it waits until the next bar to play them, the same way it does in Ableton Live with the clips, the same way it does with Ableton Push. But with the sets, it would be really nice if you could do that with the sets, because if you press the sets here, and this one, I think this one might be this one here is a little bit the same style. If I do, like, in the middle of a bar, see, it just cuts anywhere. So it would be nice if these were matched a little bit, so, or at least you had the option to have that wait for the next bar, because you could create sets, and, like, that's where you could really create a track easily, because you'd be taking you'd be able to, like, take 8 different sets and of the same song, and then do complete variations with them, and you could really have one of them where you have the build up and the rise or whatever, which you can do if you do it this way, but it would be a lot more work to program it this way. So if they're ever able to do that where these can be on the grid, that would be really nice. But anyways, I'm loving this thing. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't had a chance to play around with it as much as I'd like to. I really have to sit down and do some of the more advanced stuff. And the manual is really worth checking. I'm one of those people that doesn't read the manual, but every time I do, I'm like, oh, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. And there are a bunch of, like, especially on here, there's a bunch of, like, hidden stuff that you would have no way to know that you can do without the manual. I have a video that I'm working on of, right now. I think it's 5 things you didn't know about Ableton Live, or about Ableton Move. I have a feeling that list is going to grow, but so it may not. By the time I do it, it may not be 5. It might be 10 or whatever. But there are a lot of hidden little things in here that are worth playing around with, and it's worth checking the manual to be able to make these the tracks you want to make, because I'm convinced I'm actually going to do it. Like I said it last time, and I'm saying it again. And this way you guys are forcing me to do it. I want to make a track completely on here and release it. Like, I'll do the mastering in Ableton Live or in a DAW, but I want to do build the whole track in here, take it, bring it in there, just do a quick mastering job and release it and throw it up on Spotify and everywhere else. So that's one of my projects. Once I'm able to build more variations, I'm noticing that you can tell I'm starting a whole bunch of new sets all the time instead of like really refining the ones that I have. And I'm not sure if I want to refine some of these on here or on Ableton Live, because the problem is once you bring it into Ableton Live, you can't bring it back. So that's a little bit of a limitation, but so I'll have to decide if I want to do as much as I can on here before I bring it into Ableton Live. So, but I think that's how it'll be. It'll just be sort of that forward momentum. I don't know if you guys, is it the Kanban method of like, basically you're moving stuff ahead, bit by bit. So I think this will be a part of that, where you're starting it here, you're bringing it into Ableton Live, and then there are these levels to it, and this will be level 1. But I'm hoping that I can make that level 1 that I'm doing on here more and more. I'm hoping that I can build more of the track right on here before bringing it into Ableton Live. So like right now, it's basically loops that you're taking there and bringing it in. But hopefully, eventually, it can be, instead of having, when I bring it into Ableton Live, I've got like 20% of the track done. I'm hoping that I can bring that up to 50% or whatever, and then just do the next 50% in there. So anyways, I hope this was interesting and useful to see a little bit about this machine. As I learn stuff, I'm going to do more of these. And I appreciate everybody who was in here, everybody who participated in the conversation, everybody who was just watching and enjoying this. I'm hoping it was useful for you, and I want to thank you so much for being here. I appreciate like every single person, every single comment, every single chat. Like, you have no idea how much I was telling my dad the other day, I'm like, I like to talk a lot, and I feel like if I'm talking about this stuff, like I can't be talking about this stuff to everybody. There's a few people I can have conversations about the Ableton Move with, but not that many. And it's nice to be able to have that community where people are interested in the same type of stuff, and we're all at different levels. Some people haven't bought it yet, and they're interested in learning more about it, and they're curious about the same things I was curious about. And like, it's tough because you have so many questions. Like, it's tough to understand how it'll work once it's in your hands. And it's nice to see others I think there are some people that spent pretty well every waking hour on the Move ever since they got it, because some people are doing some fantastic stuff with it. So anyways, it's a very interesting machine, and it's just going to keep getting better. And I'm hoping the firmware will be updated as well, and they'll be adding little features here and there. So as we get better with the machine itself will get better, and we'll be able to do some great stuff. So you're welcome. Thank you very much for being here, Tablet Ninja. And thanks everybody. And I